Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Ethics Education Fellowship Program webinar on strengthening teacher training through ethics education, what countries are doing and how to move forward. Before we start, I would like to give some housekeeping rules and some recommendations for today so that this webinar runs as smoothly as possible. So first of all, I would like to invite you to add to your name which organization and country you are connecting from, and also to share through the chat uh, who you are, from where you are connecting. We would like to hear that from you to understand and know where you're from, and also for the other participants to know as well. Then please know that the only possible interaction you will be having today is through the chat, but also we invite you through the whole webinar to make questions to the speakers through the Q&A section. And also please know and note that we have an artificial intelligence interpretation services that you can access through the interpretation button at the bottom part in the menu. There you will find different languages possibilities. Today, we will be having interpretation services in Bahasa Indonesian, in Bangla, in Nepali, in Khmer, in Arabic, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. So now before we start, I would like to start actually by acknowledging and saying special thanks to our partners from those this program wouldn't be possible. This is a reality thanks to them. So thanks to the KAICIID International Dialogue Center, to the Higher Committee of Human Fraternity, and the Guerrand-Hermès Foundation for Peace, as well as the UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa and the National Commission for UNESCO from Kenya for this collaboration we have been having for these past years. Also, special thanks to the Ministries of Education of the 6 countries that have been working and promoting ethics education and moving the work forward to integrate this into their national systems, these being Bangladesh, Mauritius, Indonesia, Seychelles, Kenya, and Nepal. But also, and from those we have representatives today here and will be our key speakers, today our fellows, our program fellows that have been championing and promoting and advancing ethics education in their countries. So today's webinar will be structured in 2 rounds of presentations, followed by a section of questions and answers. So please know that after the first presentations, you will be having the chance to do direct questions through to the speakers, and then we will have a second round for that. Please note that the questions, you will need to make them through the Q&A section, and we will then forward them to our speakers today. So without further ado, I would like now to introduce Ms. Sherazad Feral, Education Program Specialist from the UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa. Ms. Feral has for more than 15 years of experience in international development and cooperation, mainly in transformative education. She served as coordinator of the UNESCO Malala Fund for Girls' Right to Education and program management officer at the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism. Her expertise includes the prevention of violent extremism, global citizenship, education, and education for sustainable development, among others. So thank you, Ms. Feral, for opening this exchange today and for helping us to frame the relevance of education within broader efforts to strengthen teacher development and education systems.
Thank you, Francisco. Good morning, everyone. Dear partners present, country fellows, ethics Education Fellowship Program, teachers, educators, dear participants, welcome. With all protocol observed, allow me please to start. I would like to request for a minute of silence in honor of the daily departure of the soul of Dr. Olivia Opere, which was one of the lead fellows from Kenya, located in Kenyatta University. So please, I would like to request 1 minute. Thank you. It indeed a pleasure to once come around the table to continue this critical conversation on the topics of ethic education. We focus on teacher training, and most importantly, to learn from the rich experiences of the champion teachers in the 6 countries of this program. As you mentioned, Francisco, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Nepal, Kenya, Mauritius, and Seychelles, the usual suspect. Cognizant of the critical role played by teachers in imparting knowledge, skills, and attitudes to our learners, it is needful to note that enhanced relevance teaching has to be transformational in nature, and this has been that we illustrated in the respective country reports, like you must have seen and read as we exchange knowledge, and so more in the very rich learner-centered project co-created together with learners in the various countries during the ethics education fellowship implementation process. To support a transformative learning experience successfully, as you know, UNESCO added value is education, we suggest that teaching and learning resources should embody 3 teaching pedagogies. Engagement, encourage learner-centered, participatory, and action-oriented learning, which really fit into what we want in ethics education. Living together, promote values, attitudes, and skills for learning to live together, and present a balanced, fair, and respectful representation of various social, cultural, and religious groups. And this is even more relevant than ever today. Peace, and I want to pause. We want to enable learners to reflect, think, and build peace internationally. It's not just for the country. They are agents of change. It is especially important that resources should support learners in exploring the construction of identities, both personal but also collective, and to improve the understanding of conflict and conflict resolution. Ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore important to recall the key competencies that guide teachers and teacher training. I'm already talking to those who know that, but I think it's important to highlight that to ultimately incorporate ethics education within also global citizenship education into teaching and learning and even assessment, we need cognitive competencies. It's about, as you know, knowledge and critical thinking. And the cognitive competencies go under understanding global interconnectedness. It's very important that the teachers must possess in-depth knowledge of global themes, such as human rights, sustainable development, peace, and economic globalization, and understand how these issues link local and global context. Also, critical thinking and media literacy, particularly in the era of AI, ability to critically analyze, evaluate, and challenge information, as well as to identify underlying stakeholders' interest and bias, if there is. Pedagogical content knowledge. It's a competence in integrating themes like global citizenship education across different subjects, rather than treating it as a separate. It has to be embedded. And of course, understanding diversity. There's a deep knowledge of different cultures, perspectives, and belief systems recognizing the value of diversity. So this has to be within the cognitive competencies. Then let's talk about the social-emotional competencies, which are linked with values and attitude, as we just seen the knowledge and critical thinking. So what is important is cultivating empathy and solidarity, really the ability to foster a sense of belonging to a common humanity and empathy for people from diverse backgrounds. Commitment to shared values. Teachers must model core global citizenship education values, including social justice, human rights, peace, and respect for diversity. Let's not be discouraged and still put that as the top to what we are leading to. And as we are developing the social emotional competencies, there's two that also are very important, is the self-reflection and critical awareness. This ability to reflect on their own identity as a teacher and values and prejudice and how this can influence their teaching is very important. And also for the teacher, the intercultural competence, how a teacher have the skill in navigating intercultural interactions with respect and openness. And most importantly, not least, and this everything is linked, is about action and pedagogy that is within the behavioral competencies. So this is about learn a certain pedagogy. The competence in using participatory, inquiry-based, and dialogical teaching methods that empower learners to take charge of their own learning. So that we have also what we call active citizenship and social action, is the ability to design activities that encourage students to take action at local, national, and global levels for a peaceful world, or just society, or neighborhood, or village. And the conflict resolution and mediation is for the teacher to have the skill in fostering constructive conflict resolution and promoting non-violent communication within the classroom. And linked with the media and information literacy in the knowledge is also about having within this behavioral competence the digital literacy. Because sometimes we have learners that can challenge the teacher in this new era. So the teacher really have to have the competencies using digital technologies to facilitate, the diverse point of view. Because a teacher can really be challenged by learners who go online, check, follow social media, and then bring some information in class. And finally, for the teacher, the professional and transformative competencies is very important as a career development, because the teacher is also a facilitator role, is act as a supportive guide rather than just transmit knowledge. This is where it's transformative. Flexibility and adaptability is for the teacher to be able to adapt teaching methods to meet the needs of the learners and to handle the complexities of changing global events. And networking and community collaboration, because school is not just in the classroom. School is bigger than that. I mean, teaching in the classroom is bigger than that because it requires some ability from the teacher to collaborate with other colleagues, parents, the whole school approach, the community partners to extend learning outside the classroom. Further, in the lifelong learning nature of education, because we are all learning every day, governments and education stakeholders must stand ready to support continued professional development of teachers to gain new knowledge and skills. Be intentional to review and update teacher training curricula to incorporate learning areas such as pertinent and contemporary issues that are really included in ethics education. And this go even with climate change, among others. So these two calls for continued advocacy for commensurate funding and budget allocation for the desired resources for teachers, retooling and upscaling. And I want to finish here. And I thank you very much for your attention. Over to you, Francisco.
Thank you, Ms. Peral, and thank you for reminding us how teacher development is actually transformational in nature, and how now more than ever, I would think we need to learn to live together with people from different cultures and religions, and how that actually starts in school. And the linkages and the link with actually teacher training is how these professional transformation competencies and the role of teachers is not only to transmit knowledge, as you were saying, but also to meet the needs of the learners, the students, to adapt to the actual context, and to promote these values of empathy and conflict resolution, as you were saying. So thank you for this. And now I'm very eager to hear about our country's experiences on promoting all this and working with the teachers to create these environments in which learners can nurture. So first, I would like to invite from Mauritius to Dr. Seema Govardhan, Associate Professor in the Department of Social Studies at the Mauritius Institute of Education. Dr. Seema she teaches history of Mauritius to pre-service and in-service teachers and has been involved in the production of innovative pedagogical resources to promote the learning of history in schools. She also develops curriculum materials for both primary and secondary school learners. She is engaged in the Ethics Education Project for Transforming Education to contribute to global citizenship and peaceful and inclusive societies, and her research interests include teaching and learning of history, heritage education, ethics education, teacher education, and curriculum development. Besides, Dr. Seema, for the last years, has been one of our champions and fellows in promoting and advancing ethics education in her country. So we are very eager to hear from your experience. Dr. Seema, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Francisco, for this introduction. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see
Okay.
it.
So, hello everyone, and a warm welcome to all our audience from Mauritius for joining us today for this webinar titled Strengthening Teacher Training Through Ethics Education. I'll be sharing experiences of Mauritius on how teachers are trained to integrate ethics education into their classroom. But I think it's very important, I think before I begin my presentation, I believe a brief role of Mauritius Institute of Education, that is the teacher training, that's the sole teacher training institution in the island, and the role it plays in teacher preparation. MIE, Mauritius Institute of Education, and usually called as a MIE, is the island's only teacher training institution, and that is mandated with to oversee teacher education, curriculum development, and research. And in Mauritius, both primary and secondary school teachers, prior to embarking on their teaching, they undergo teacher training at the MIE. Now, since the inception of Ethics Education Fellowship Program, that started in Mauritius in 2023, all the fellows who are also involved, they also teacher educators at the MIE, and we have been actively engaged in scaling up and strengthening teacher capacity through workshops, inclusions of modules in the different teacher training program. So just to situate. Sorry. Let me see the next. Why is my slide not moving? Yeah. So just to put this into context, if I can just say that, when we started in 2023, around 24 educators they followed the training, and 246 learners were involved, and there were only 8 schools from Mauritius. But over the 2 years, we have seen, if you can see the numbers that have increased, and we have now trained 247 educators in the second phase. And in the initial phase, it was just Mauritius. That was the teachers and students from Mauritius were involved. But in the second phase, we also have included and expanded our training to teachers in Rodrigues. Now, Rodrigues is also a small island in the Republic of Mauritius. So we extended to Rodrigues. And now, if you can see, there are about 5,000 learners, 46 schools. So we have expanded and our teacher training and teacher capacity, which has been scaled up. So now this figure shows the increase in the number of teachers trained and also the increasing number of students engagement from 2023 to 2025. But it's also important to consider that how we managed to do this. So for us at the MI, because we all of us are involved in teacher training and teacher preparation, and the mandate of MI being teacher training, we, for all the programs, be it from diploma, secondary, even at master's level, so the programs are prepared and teachers are trained. And so what we have done is that we have ensured that the ethics education is embedded into the various teacher training programs. So the TDP, which is the Teacher's Diploma Primary, PGC, TVET. So the elements and concepts of ethics education, they have been embedded into it, into the different modules. Then we have also had seminars and workshops for primary trainee teachers, that is special education educators and other secondary school educators. So what we did is that, so all these teachers, they were empowered in the use of transformative pedagogy through workshops, seminars, to be included into the classroom. And we also had, what was the latest thing which we have done is that we've got, since the last 2 years, introduction of new modules into our teacher training program. So there are 3 modules which you can see on your slide, that education for global citizenship, field trip as a transformative teaching and learning strategies, and there's citizenship education. These are modules, they are offered as elective for PGCE and ethics in education as well. But there is a core module. So these are electives, and trainees, when they come, they have the possibility of opting these electives. But what is also important here is that we have also been successfully able to include a core module in a B.Ed program, which is for TVET, that is teachers for the vocational sector, and this is titled Ethics Education in TVET. So I'll just show you, there's some rationale which we have said, which we have put in the slide. But what I want to share is that the main aim of some of the modules, the modules that which we have included into our program, like the focus is basically on developing students' knowledge, attitude, and allowing them to strengthen their own ethical decision-making skills. So what we do is that we try to tailor it for the specific programs depending on the needs. So how, and also for the level. So for instance, I can just share with you one of the content that we have it for TVET is that among all the others, that how to processes to address ethical challenges through self-reflection and collaboration. As Sajad was also mentioning, that this is one of the important things, that not only just talking about the concepts, but also through transformative pedagogy, the use of transformative pedagogy, and also allowing this aspect of self-reflection and collaboration. So we have been able to do this through our various programs. We also have some of the, like these are the new programs modules that which we have included into our program, but we also had modules initially and which still exist, that modules on citizenship education, human rights education, and all these do at the different level cover aspects of ethics education. And of course, the focus is on transformative pedagogy, hands-on activities. So it's not just teaching, but also engaging the learners in this process. So what we did and how we did. So the focus was focus was on transformative pedagogy, tools like, such as use of field trip, collaborative strategies, use of dialogue, role play, hands-on activities that encourage teachers to train in the same. So our role as teacher educator, what we did was that, like, of course, we trained teachers. And as I pointed out to you earlier, all teachers, be it primary or secondary, they go through teacher training before embarking on the actual classroom teaching practice. So all these teachers have been exposed either through workshop, through seminars, and through the different modules that whole focus on the different tools of transformative pedagogy. I've given you examples of field trip and focusing more on the use of dialogue. So all these teachers have been prepared. And then these teachers, when they go back in the classroom, and this is where we have also a component of teaching practice, and when we go and see these teachers who have been trained here in their classroom, what has been the outcome of the training, and to what extent have they been able to imbibe these transformative pedagogies into their classroom practice. And I must share with you all that when we went for our visits, I mean, all the 8 fellows who are involved in the project, when we have seen our teachers in the classroom practices, we did notice improved classroom dynamics. We saw how this element of empathy was developed, how students became more social responsible, their appreciation of their rich cultural diversity, use of dialogue, collaboration and mutual respect, critical and problem-solving skills, because this is also which enabled students to think about it. Now, we just for all the audience also, and for our other colleagues, that all these, what we have put it here, they've also been highlighted in our MEL report, because this was actually when we were having this monitoring and evaluation, when we visited our teachers. So we saw this, and these have also been included in our MEL report. And I thought it was interesting to share some of the anecdotes from the teachers, because after they implemented, because once the training is over, it is not that the teachers are left on their own, because especially when we are in touch with, when they are following the program at the MI and through our teacher training. So when we follow them, and when we had conversation with them on our visit to the schools, and it was very important to note and also share, like, we were happy to also see that how some of the anecdotes that the teachers shared with us, especially like how by using transformative pedagogy and the implementation of ethics education, how teachers also discovered, and they also felt that there has been a change in their mindset, because teachers sometimes they already come with a preconceived idea, and then when they go in the classroom, they know that this is how the students are to behave, and it becomes difficult for them to change themselves. But the modules that they have followed, the training, the seminars which they have gone through, have also made them bring these changes in the mindset. I already see Francisco's hand being raised, so I'll just quickly go through, and I won't share these anecdotes, but if you can already see it. And it was also even from the learner's point of view that, they also, when they visited, they saw the changes in the different religious places, and how they developed empathy, and also the collaboration, how it has shaped them. So these are some of the pictures which we had taken, which I thought to share with you all. Now, it is also important that, to share with you that not only this program that which we do, it is done as an isolation. It is also aligned with a national curriculum framework, and also in terms of supporting our national priorities on social cohesion, child protection, and holistic education. And through teacher training, we have been able to achieve teacher training program, and also the ethics education fellowship program. Students have been we have been supporting our national priorities, and these, like I said, that this includes things like which we did to training teachers in child-centered rights-based approach, promoting dialogue across groups, building safe spaces for mutual understanding, embedded protective factors in everyday practice, integrating social emotional learning. I think this was an aspect which Shehzad also mentioned in her opening remarks, and empowering educators with transformative teaching methods. So all this, it was done through resources that we developed, building teacher capacity, and also And also to achieve this, which aligns with the national priorities, and it's important that I make a reference to the SDG goals 4.7, and which is also part of our NCF. Now, just coming to conclusion, because all programs, all training, they do come with challenges and opportunities. And some of the challenges that which we did encounter was basically in terms of the limited practical integration in some of the current subjects, where subjects like life skills, citizenship, it is easier for teachers to integrate, but still they're facing these challenges of integrating ethics education and transformative pedagogies in across. So our step now towards is that how we can expand it and make sure that ethics education is included and embedded across curriculum. Also, there's apart from the other thing, there's also one very important thing, that the education system is academically and exam oriented. So sometimes teachers find to include activities which they find it as time consuming, and they find it as an overload on their curriculum. So these were some of the challenges, but I would also want to add here that we have mentioned about the challenges, but we also would want to talk about the way forward. And we at the Mauritius Institute of Education and the Ethics Education Fellowship Program, the team in Mauritius, we are reviewing some of our teacher education program, and the proposition has already been made to include because the program that are going to review at the moment is Teachers Diploma Primary and Teachers Diploma for Holistic Education. So already proposition has been sent to the concerned coordinators that and with showing our flagging this intention of how we can include ethics education as in the teacher training program as a core, and also as an elective, and also if there are spaces for seminars and workshops. So with this, I would want to end with what we have done and what we have achieved so far. But also, this is not the end, but we also have other plans in progress as a way forward of how we can institutionalize, how we can expand, and the ethics education project. So thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Govardhan, for showcasing the role of the Mauritius Institute for Education and highlighting the pathways, the key pathways you found to embed ethics education through seminars and workshops, but creating and adding new modules to existing programs to focus also on the transformative pedagogy that is available in the Ethics Education Fellowship Program training package, and that it looks to promote and foster child-centered pedagogy, dialogue, and promotes a positive relationship not only between students, but also between the students and the teachers. And it was really interesting how you showed the comments of the teachers themselves, that real change happen when the learners are involved. So thank you for all this, and also for highlighting that all the interest and work the country is doing to move forward and advance the program in there. So thank you very much. Now I would like to go with our next speaker from Indonesia, Dr. Abu Kair, not only a fellow, but also head of Teachers and Educational Personnel Training Center from the East Java province, from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education in Indonesia. Dr. Kair holds a doctorate in education and has extensive experience in advancing teacher professional development and integrating technology in education. Within Indonesia's Ministry of Education, he served as head of the production section for educational television media development, and later as head of the Multimedia Development Center. From 2018 to 2022, he also led the Center for the Development and Empowerment of Kindergarten and Special Education, Teachers and Educational Personnel. And since that year, he has been serving as head of Teachers and Education Personnel Training Center in East Java province. So, Dr. Kair, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and good morning, distinguished colleagues and partners. Happy Eid al-Fitr Mubarak for those who are celebrating. My name is Abu Hair, head of the East of Teachers Training Center. It is a great honor to share Indonesia experience in strengthening teachers training for ethic education. In Indonesia, uh, teacher training center play a strategic role in implementing ethic education across the country. There are 34 provincial teachers training centers supporting teachers' professional development and education quality. East Java was honored to serve as part of the Ethic Education Framework Pilot Project. At the nation level, the programs has demonstrated encouraging impact. A total 539 teachers were directly trained, with further 3,380 teachers indirectly benefiting through follow-up activities and knowledge sharing. In terms of student engagement, 2,572 sessions were directly involved program activities reaching projects impacts approximately 72,730. Okay, next slide. Our role includes several contributions. We conducted a nation and region coordination meeting to ensure connecting of implementation strategies. We facilitated knowledge sharing by organizing dissemination workshop, bringing together teachers training center from other provinces. We strengthened capacity by engaging internal teachers trainers to support the sustainability of the program. We also supported scaling effort with our internal trainers, serving as facilitators in training programs for teaching for regional training center across the province. Okay, next slide. In Indonesia, current character development policy adopt a habituation-based approach, embedding character formation consistently within daily school practices. The three pillars of transformative pedagogies in ethic education are integrated into training structures and teaching pocketbook and light with three KAICIID strategies. The first, the seven habits of a great Indonesia children, tujuh kebiasaan anak Indonesia hebat, which cultivated positive behaviors and values throughout structured and routine-based activity. And the second, cross-curricular learning, where character education is embedded across subjects to promote holistic and contextual understanding. And the third, the use of complementary resources involving relevant tools and programs that reinforce and culture of character development within school and support teachers in their daily teaching and learning activities. Okay, next slide. The following testimony from Bu Riris, a participant in the +1 Ethic Education Fellowship Training Workshop, reflect teachers' perspective on the role of EEF in strengthening character education in the classroom. Pedagogically, ethic education reinforces the Seven Habit program through reflection, dialogue, and meaningful experiences, enabling the habit to be internalized into well-rounded characters. By applying the principle ethic education along with the activity book provided by EEF, students engage in the learning that is meaningful and enjoyable in ways that are appropriate to the age and social context. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Our work began with +1, where teachers were trained as part of the initial implementation of the Ethic Education Fellowship. In +2, the same group of the teachers contributed to developing a teaching pocket book, design the integrated the program within the curriculum. These pocket books serve a clear purpose to provide practical guidance for teachers in effectively implementing ethic education in their daily teaching and learning activities. Okay, next slide. The programs was further expanded in +2, engaging a total 41 teachers. Across both past reflect and learning workshops are conducted to capture best practices, lesson learned, and key challenges. This effort will strengthen toward the monitoring, evaluation, and learning process, include study visit to participating schools to observe the implementation in practice. Okay, next slide. Our implementation places a strong emphasis on learning engagement. In East Java, the program highlights interreligious dialogue, and mutual learning as central themes in the practice of education ethics. We also promote continuous learning through regular reflection cycles and school site visits to support teachers in implementing the program effectively. In addition, good practices demonstrated by students are documented and shared throughout our institutional social media channel, helping to disseminate a positive example and encourage wider adoption. Okay, next slide. Our experiences highlight several important lessons. The first, Teachers Training Center play a central role in the scaling ethic education and ensuring its wider adoption. And the second, in the Indonesian context, integration needs to be regionally contextualized to reflect local social, cultural, and education realities. Third, internal teachers trainers to essential for sustaining the program, the maintaining isolation capacity. And finally, I challenge the priority is embedding ethic education within existing professional development policies to ensure long-term continuity and impact. Okay. Yep. Oke, slide terakhir. The Teachers Training Center has actively contributed to the implementation EEF throughout training program, workshop, trainer engagement, resource development, and dissemination. To conclude, we would like to invite you to watch a short video showcasing our involvement in ethic education in Indonesia. Please. Okay, any problem? I try from my head. Okay, thank you for you.
Thank you, Dr. Kair, for your presentation and by also showing us that ethics education can be treated not only as a standalone program, but also connected and integrated into existing national policies, such as your habituation-based education model with the 7 habits of great Indonesian children, and also how you manage to do cross-curricular trainings and support those trainings by the development of specific resources such as the pocketbooks, but also by highlighting the key role that teacher training centers have and operate within the rollout process you have been having by providing not only sustainability, but also by providing regional contextualization to this program. And mainly, I think last thing to maybe to highlight is the implementation focus you showed with the interreligious dialogue, which connects to what Ms. Feral presented at the beginning, this importance of knowing how to live together with people from different cultures and religions. So very interesting that this was one of the points that you also highlighted. So thank you for this. Now I would like to move forward with our next country and the final from this first round. I also, please remember all of you that you can share your questions through the Q&A section and that we will be sending them to the speakers lately. So now I would like to give the floor to Ms. Erika Dershakes Inacio, Director General for Inclusive Education and Special Needs from the General Education and Education Department. She holds a master's degree in Science des Religions from the Université Catholique de Louvain and a master's in Sociology and Anthropology, grounding her work in a deep understanding of culture, identity, and social relationships in learning. Her leadership focuses on curriculum reform, values-based education, teacher professional development, and building school environments that nurture dignity, empathy, and responsible citizenships. Since 2022, Erika has also led the national integration of ethics education, guiding curriculum development and ensures sustainability through both pre-service and in-service teacher trainings. So please, Ms. Dershakes Inacio, you can go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to present to you briefly how ethics education is strengthening teacher capacity in Seychelles and how it supports our national vision for a modern, inclusive, and socially cohesive education system aligned with future needs and the sustainable development goal. The value addition for strengthening teacher training. Ethics education, next slide, has played an important role in strengthening teacher capacity by aligning professional development with the national priorities and system transforming goals. First, it supports teachers in moving beyond purely academic instruction towards a value-based learning. Next slide. Helping learners develop solidarity, human fraternity, responsibility, and respect for diversity. Next slide. It reinforces professional identity through the code of the practices for teachers, encouraging reflective practice and ensuring educators model the values they teach, such as integrity, impartiality, and respect. Ethics education contributes directly to the national vision of education for social cohesion, which is essential in a small island developing state like the Seychelles, where inclusion, dialogue, and peaceful coexistence are key national priorities. Next slide, please. The training, implementation, and the scale and the processes. Seychelles has adopted a fierce approach to integrate ethics education through the Seychelles Institute of Teacher Education. At the pre-service level, ethics education are integrated into a 3-year diploma. It's a new diploma, so that the future teachers begin their careers already equipped with ethical and reflective pedagogical competences. In this diploma, we have developed over 10 new modules. It consists of safeguarding, introduction to ethics education, character education, and several other modules. In the pre-service level, since 2023, we are supporting teachers across primary and secondary school, following participation also of ministry officials. This approach ensured that the integration of ethics education was not only based on theory, but practice-based and classroom-focused. Figures regarding teachers, learners, and stakeholders will continue to be consolidating of our scaling process. Next slide, adaptation through transformative pedagogy. An important strength of the Seychelles approach is the use of transformative pedagogy. Teachers are applying ethics education in two major subjects: the personal, social, and citizenship education, and the religious education. There are also other subjects that are integrating the ethics education. The goal is not only knowledge transmission, but behavioral transformation and character formation. This supports learners in developing empathy, responsibility, dialogue skills, and respect for others, the competencies that are essential for inclusive societies. The next slide is based on the observed impacts and the feedback. As you may see on the slide, this is Montfleury Secondary School. It's a champion school for ethics education, and those teachers, they have been trained in ethics education. Next slide, please. We are already observing encouraging developments at school level. Schools are increasingly being viewed as community learners, where collaboration among teachers, learners, and leadership team is strengthened. Among learners, ethics education contributes to positive attitude towards others, improved relationship, and prevention-oriented responses to challenges such as bullying. At the institutional level, officers from the Ministry of Education, the University of Seychelles, and the Institute for Teacher Training, they have benefited from direct mentoring, collaboration, and strengthening research and implementation capacity. Where sustainability and institutionalization is concerned, it's a key priority for the Seychelles. Next slide, please. Now, as you are seeing, these are teacher training, doing an activity to enhance relationship. Next slide, please. Sustainability is a key priority, like I've just said, for us. The government of Seychelles has seen the presentation of ethics education at the Cabinet of Ministers, and they have endorsed this idea. So now at the ministry level of education, we are planning for a policy for ethics education. And the government, like I've stated, it's moving towards a policy-aligned and system-wide approach to ensure that ethics education becomes part of the education structure rather than remaining a standalone initiative. In addition to that, we have talked with the Seychelles Qualification Authority to ensure that the different courses we are developing, they are of great quality. This helps ensure that implementation remains consistent, measurable, and accountable. What are our future plans and scaling up? The next slide, please. Okay, like you've seen, this is Oka Primary School. A primary school where the teacher has been trained and they are implementing ethics education, and this is an activity Reach for the Star. Okay, next slide. Looking ahead, Seychelles is transitioning from pilot initiative towards a harmonized national approach to confirm teacher development. Following the evaluation of phase 2, the ministry will consider broader expansion across state schools. This scaling up process contributes directly to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly those related to inclusive education, social cohesion, and global citizenship competencies. Ethics education, therefore, represents not only a pedagogical approach, but a strategic investment in the future of our education system and our society. Thank you very much for your attention. Seychelles remains committed to strengthening partnership and continuing collaboration and advancing ethics education for inclusive, resilient, and socially cohesive learning communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ignacio, for showcasing all the work and experience you have been promoting in Seychelles, and also by highlighting the key strategy you follow by aligning this program with existing national priorities, which allowed you to get high-level endorsement in the country, even by the national cabinet, and also for putting in the stage the transformative pedagogy that actually allows for student behavioral change, which is needed to promote all these competencies that are essential for having inclusive societies, but not only at the societal level, but you also showcase how you have been seeing changes at the community level and even at the school level by seeing progress regarding bullying and stronger peer relationships. So thank you for highlighting all those.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now we move forward with questions and answers section. We have been having lots of questions in the chat. I will pick a few and read them to you. Feel free to answer them. For the rest of the questions, we can then send them later to you as well. But let me read a few first. So, how does ethics education helps teachers identify and dismantle systemic biases in grading discipline and participation? Also, as the teachers are trained, how do you track the integration into the existing systems? And finally, with the rise of market-based education, how did you manage to convince others that the purpose of education goes beyond simply preparing students for jobs or improving the economy, and that ethics remains a crucial dimension? So, sorry. Ms. Goverdun, Ms. Ignacio, Dr. Kaer, would you like to address any of these questions?
I think, Francisco, if you allow me, I think the last one, which I just picked it up, I think, how does ethics education prepare in this today, in the changing environment and in the market-based economy? Let me just tell you that our national curriculum framework, it already spells out very clearly that education is not just learning by heart or rote learning. Education also refers to how you can make a learner, a critical thinker, a good citizen, a responsible citizen. So these are already highlighted in our national curriculum and as one of our national priorities when I was talking about it. So ethic education, the kind of strategies that which we're using for training teachers, and the especially like when we are giving the opportunity, like giving learners the agency to voice out what they feel and giving them that opportunity. This is what I think, this is how we are trying to achieve it. And since it is already aligned with our NCF, it allows us, like, making that education is not just learning, but education is also transforming and your thinking and living in a society in a manner where you develop mutual respect and respect for diversity. So this was one thing which I picked it up as a question. And also in terms of following when training is done is done, and how do we follow it up. I think this places us in the situation that we, being teacher educators as well, and we have this component of teaching practice in our various programs. So what we teach and when we train teachers, it allows us to go back into the classroom and really see it, that whatever they have learned, how they're able to actually integrate it into their practice. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you, Dr. Gobardun.
Okay, I can give an answer. In the Seychelles context, ethics education has been practically demonstrated during the phase 2 across the various islands. Traditionally, a lesson in primary and secondary classroom focus on knowledge objective only. For example, in social studies, learners may be asked to define children's rights. In religious education, learners may be asked to list moral values. In civic education, learners may be asked to identify rules. While these objectives address knowledge, they do not necessarily influence how learners think, feel, or behave. So, what we are seeing now, educators began transforming lesson in the doing away of, not really minimizing, but doing away of the knowledge. Instead of only defining the children's right, there are questions being raised. What will you do if you see a friend being bullied? Learners reflect, discuss, and justify their choices. From content to real-life application. In school, for example, Guerrand-Hermès on Pralin, they are doing various initiatives with the learners having behavior problem. So they are doing networking with other school, circle discussion, role play. And this allows learners to express their views and learn from one another. So we are shifting to only knowledge base, but to really application real life situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ignacio. Dr. Kyle. Dr. Kyle, can you hear us? Sunny, do you know if Dr. Kyle is having some technical issue?
Yeah, I will check.
Okay. One moment, please. We are having a slight technical issue with Dr. Kair audio, apparently. Dr. Kair, can you hear us?
Is that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want me to repeat some of the questions for
Please,
you?
and
Yes.
I will try
Yeah.
to.
Okay. So
Okay.
we have a few questions in the chat for you. For example, how does ethics education helps teachers identify and dismantle systematic biases in grading discipline and participation? And another question was, as the teachers are trained, how do you track the integration in the existing systems?
Bapak izin, nanti ada pertanyaan di kolom chat itu bagaimana mengintegrasikan pendidikan etika dengan sistem kita yang sudah berjalan dan bagaimana untuk menghindari bias di dalam pendidikan etika terhadap guru-guru kita. Nanti akan saya bantu terjemahkan Bapak. Mohon izin.
Baik, terima kasih pertanyaan yang sangat menginspirasi bahwa untuk menghindari bias berkaitan dengan konsep, maka tentu kita akan melakukan sebuah tahapan dalam sebuah pelatihan adalah refleksi. Dari kegiatan refleksi ini kita akan bisa mengetahui bagaimana sebuah konsep itu sudah bisa dipahami secara utuh ataukah belum. Sehingga ini menjadi ada satu ajang konfirmasi, kemudian kita akan melakukan dialog berkaitan dengan bagaimana sebuah konsep itu bisa diinterpretasi sama dengan utuh antara sebuah konsep yang baku dengan apa yang telah dipahami oleh para peserta pelatihan. Itu barangkali Pak Sani.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Abu Hair said that to avoid the bias within the teacher training, so we always conduct the reflections sessions. So that's to avoid the bias and as well as to encourage dialogues between the participants. So that's our strategy in order to strengthen the ethic education that connects to the realities that teachers already face in their daily activities.
Thank you, Dr. Kaera, and thank you, Sani, for translating to him and to us. Also, please everyone remember we have interpretation available, but for sure, Sani, thank you for providing this anyways. So thank you to all the speakers for providing this first round of presentations. Please, as we move for the second round, remain because in the final questions and answer section, we will also be available to engage. So now I would like to move forward with the second round and introduce the Bangladesh national experience through Joydeep Deep. Joydeep, are you here with us? Please, if you can hear me, turn on your camera. So
Yeah.
thank you. So Joydeep Deep is fellow, assistant professor, and government teachers training college from Kumilia, Bangladesh. With 14 years of teaching, research, and training experience in secondary education and teacher development, he specializes in ICT, in education, blended learning, and innovative pedagogy. Joydeep is a prolific author of 23 books, including the National Curriculum Textbook Board and National University textbooks. He aims to integrate creativity, technology, and ethical values into Bangladesh education system.
Thank you, Francisco. Nicely presenting me. I like to share my slides. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joydeep from Bangladesh. I express my heartiest gratitude to Arigatou International on behalf of Bangladesh team. Where is Bangladesh? What kind of country it is it? Just take a look at the map. On the same longitude, there are two countries located in two different hemispheres. One is the largest country on earth, and the other is the 92nd smallest country on earth. But the population of the smaller country is larger than that of the biggest country. The paradoxical demographical reality defines Bangladesh. Our greatest resource is people. Yet, many still consider that large population is a burden of our country, but we did not admit it. We aim to transform this vast population into a productive force with a positive mindset. With that vision, there's the statistics between Bangladesh and Russia. With that vision, we first focus on making teachers more sensitive to ethics education. Our teachers training programs have been developed accordingly. We have already successfully conducted two phases. In first phase, we trained 38 teachers from 19 different education institutions. In the second phase, we trained 78 teachers from 39 different education institutions, including the previous 19 institutions. In the second phase, two of our four strategies directly focused on teacher training. Through our observation, we found improvements in four key areas among teachers. First, increased sense of social responsibility. Second, improved advocacy skill. Third, more positive attitude. And fourth, greater awareness of transformative pedagogy. One of our biggest achievement in this phase has been integrating the concept of ethics education into mainstream teachers training in our country. Under the Ministry of Education, through the LACE project, newly recruited teachers across the country are receiving a 56-day foundational training. Over the next 5 years, more than 25 Over the next 5 years, more than 25,000 teachers will be trained. As part of this program, each teacher is recruited to design a collaborative initiative and implement it in their respective schools after completing the training. To ensure a smoother path forward, we translated our teacher activity booklets and validate at the national level. We also developed another booklet in our mother tongue, consolidating the core concepts of ethics education and presented it to national policymakers. Francisco already took part in this workshop. He observed our translated booklets and he appreciated our initiative. In addition, a training program has been planned for trainer at the largest teachers training academy in our country. We hope it will be implemented soon. So I like to share some recommended remarks and perceptions of our esteemed teachers. She is Miss Nilima Bishwa, senior teacher at Kustia Government Girls High School. It is about 200 kilo away from our capital. She said, after being involved in this program, I have become much more sensitive toward others. I've also developed a mindset to appreciating and acknowledging others' work. And he is Mr. Mohammad Jangir Alam. He is also a senior teacher at Government Coronation School, Khulna. It is a port city along the sea belt. Said, I now feel more comfortable facilitating students to implement projects in a more spontaneous way. Earlier, I used to take the initiative myself. Now I have developed a mindset to being a supportive and encouraging partner of students' own initiative. And last one, this remark come from Mr. Sanjay Mitra Chaudhary. He is also senior teacher at Nasribad Government High School. It is the second largest city of our country and the main port city, Chattogram. He said, students no longer feel hesitant to approach me. I can now learn more about them and work with them more effectively. Through role playing, they are able to bring many of their problems to me openly. Now we observe some challenges, opportunities, and our next steps. Our challenges, time and resource is our main challenge. Teachers report limited circular space and inadequate material. Students request longer session because our whole class session was planned from the central national curriculum textbook authority. Getting the space from this framework is very tough, so our teacher have to take additional class after the class period. So sometime they feel tired, and also our student and feel our guardian make some complaint because it is additional class. And another opportunity, we are going to make a new develop our new curriculum. So we are advocating our national policy makers to incorporate our ideas of ethics education, to incorporate our new national curriculum. And our recommendation is creative expression and resource scale creative media, scale up creative media, and invest in learning materials quality improvement. We already planned for a e-learning platform. We do have a national web portal for the teachers training. If we able to develop some e-materials, e-learning sessions, and we can easily disseminate it all over the country. So it was our recommendation. And teachers capacity building, provide continuous training, classroom ready materials, and structured peer learning circles. Advocacy message, we plan for low cost high impact investment, equip children with values, empathy, and life skills, support schools and teachers to embed ethics in daily learning, engage families and communities to sustain change, and institutionalize ethics education in policy making, policy and curriculum. In reality, these efforts are just small ripples in a vast ocean. However, we have tried to ensure however, we have tried to ensure that these ripples reach the very nerves of our nation. I firmly believe that if these efforts continue, the principles of ethics education will one day be fully integrated into our national curriculum. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. On behalf of Team Bangladesh, I would also like to extend our advance greeting on the occasion of our Independence Day. Thank you to all. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Day, for sharing the national experience from Bangladesh and from representing the whole team that is working and championing ethics education there today. But also for showcasing, as some of the other speakers, the importance of maybe not having this as a standalone program, but actually to embed it or to connect it with another existing programs to have a higher reach and impact, right? As you were explaining and showcasing the LACE program, that in the next 5 years, you are hoping to reach over 25,000 teachers, and that you have managed to integrate ethics education modules into that training, but
There
also
is additional information, Francisco. 21,000 people will come from the secondary level, and 5,000 come from the religion schools, the called madrasa.
Okay.
So it is a
Okay.
new dimension of our intervention.
That's great to know also, even more, over 30,000, and even integrating and connecting with the madrasa education system. That's great to hear. And also the importance of having contextualized and in your own language resources and materials, and all the work that you have been doing to translate all the resources from the program into Bangla. And also, it was very interesting to hear about this opportunity that you are seeing to move forward by connecting the ethics education within the curriculum reform process, so that this can bring further institutionalization and sustainability to this. So thank you for all this. I want to remind everyone that the questions and answers section is still available, and you can ask for the speakers any questions or doubt you might have. So now I would like to go with our last speaker for today's webinar, Ms. Margaret Werimuchege Kainga. Can you? Yes. Great. Perfect. So Ms. Margaret Werimuchege Kainga is a fellow, but also chief principal from the Togoto Teachers Training College from Kikuyu, Kenya, and chairman from the Kenya Teachers College's Principals Association. Margaret plays a vital role in shaping Kenya's education landscape as a member of the Presidential Working Party on Educational Reforms. Her involvement in this influential committee reflects her deep commitment to advancing accessible, equitable, and quality education nationwide. As principal of Togoto Teachers Training College, she promotes inclusivity and excellence, advocating for students with disabilities and championing events that nurture diverse talents. Her leadership embodies a dedication to progressive education reforms, reinforcing her impact on both policy and student empowerment in Kenya. Ms. Kainga, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Francisco, for that introduction. I want to appreciate Fidel for her positive and wonderful remarks about our departed colleague, Dr. Olivia. Thank you, all the Ethics Education Fraternity, for all the encouraging messages that you have shared as we celebrate the life of our dearly departed Dr. Olivia. Thank you. So I start by saying the teacher is the first human influence that a child experiences outside of the family. And this makes initial teacher education a place where positive social transformation can be originated meaningfully. So for us as Kenya, we first encountered ethics education, where 5 fellows traveled to Indonesia and met with all the wonderful people that are presenting today. And we brought home the message of ethics education. So Kenya has had a quest for ethics education for the longest time. And this is embodied in the education reforms, as earlier mentioned by Francisco, where Kenya moved from the knowledge-based to competency-based education, and value-based education was conceptualized in the basic education framework. And in this framework that came into being from around 2016, focused on educating the mind, the heart, and the hands. And so, meaning educating the whole person. Ethics education plugged into value-based education that was already ongoing. And so for us as fellows and ethics education advocates in Kenya, ours was to plug into the national priorities of value-based education. And so as we, the fellows, embarked on this journey of ethics education. The first point of call was teacher education. And here we had the teacher education departments in the university and also the teacher education institutions where I am domiciled. Initial teacher education, the colleges that I represent train teachers for early years from pre-primary 1 all the way to grade 6. And in total, in Kenya, we have 37 public teacher training colleges. And one of the places and the opportunities that we had was to sensitize the principles of all the teacher training all the teacher training colleges. And here in this slide, I have in a national conference, an opportunity to sensitize all my colleagues about the transformative pedagogy and indeed all that ethics education stands for. This is not the only opportunity. During our conferences, we also get to invite NATCOM, who are the partners in the country of ethics education, where icons like Mary Kangede come to our conferences and talk about ethics education. And so, Francisco, if you could minimize the slide so that we can see the whole of it. The previous slide, kindly. So among the opportunities that we have in ethics education is the development of ethics education modules for universities. And this we have done in conjunction with the Seychelles. And Erica has been helpful in guiding us and collaborating with us in the development of an ethics education module. We have also had an opportunity in the teacher training colleges sporting activities integrating ethics into the sporting activities by ensuring the themes of the sporting activities are centered around ethics education. So then, as I had mentioned earlier, that ethics education plugs into the basic education framework of 2017 and the NESEP, the National Education Session Paper for 2023 to 2027 that centers around value-based education. And this is where we find opportunities to plug in ethics education. Next, please. These are some of the challenges that we have faced in implementing and scaling up ethics education. One of them that I give high priority is the high turnovers of fellows. And the fellows that we started out with, some have retired and left service. Others have moved to different departments where they have other priorities. And so this is one of the challenges that we experience in our Kenyan situation. Then we also have a challenge in the gap in the shift from understanding to internalization, understanding and internalization to behavior transformation. As one of the speakers have said there earlier, we are focused not just on the understanding, but also to seeing tangible behavior change. The other challenge that we face is on prioritization at a national level, seeing that we already have value-based education as an ongoing national priority. We find space, we find ourselves squeezing in at that level of value-based education. And so the opportunities that we have are as listed in this slide. We have an opportunity to plug in with the media partnerships where we could make this message known in all the sectors through media participation. We also have an opportunity in the teacher education reforms. Currently, we have teacher education policy under construction, and we find this an opportunity to plug in a module for ethics education with the support of the partners. We could be able to plug in and embed ourselves strongly as this teacher education policy is being formulated. We also do have other opportunities in the faith-based organization where we see them as partners that can take this message into their institutions and even in their messages, seeing that the ethics education aligns with the faiths that are propagated in our country, from Christianity to Islam. All the aspects of ethics education align with the faith-based organizations. These are some of the opportunities that we see as the fellows, and we look forward to championing ethics institution at the national level and having the ideals of ethics education institutionalized at the national level. We also look forward to making a case for investment in ethics education in production of modules and more intensive workshops for the teacher educators to be able to internalize and to propagate the message of the transformative pedagogy among other aspects of ethics education. And so, in conclusion, some of the experiences that we have had as benefits of ethics education. One of them is ethical dialogue. Sometime last year, we had a big issue around the change of system within the teacher training institutions. And this particular college that has had been impacted with ethics education, faced with the similar situation with other colleges. The students in this particular college used ethical dialogue to address the problem that faced the whole sector, and we saw a completely different approach of ethical dialogue as opposed to the traditional going on the rampage that has been the common situation when conflict arises. And so I wish to say that as a college that benefited from ethics education, we had a positive ethical dialogue as opposed to other traditional methods of addressing conflict. We have also seen learner agency in...
Ms. Kainga, sorry to interrupt. If you could round up a bit.
I'm done.
Okay. No, please finish your idea.
Okay, I was just talking about learner agency, where teacher trainees on their own volition commit to clean and organize themselves in tree planting at a chief's camp. I had the slide, but I just want to just say that we have seen learner agency as a result of our trainees being impacted with the ethics education. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kainga, for also highlighting the importance of connecting the... oh yes, if you could maybe close the curtain so we can see you better. The sun's reflection, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
That,
realize.
thank you. That's better. Yeah, but thank you also for highlighting how connecting with the values-based education program and connecting to existing programs such as the hate speech and integrating into sports activities has bring more and the possibility to embed the program and also bring more sustainability and this important aspect of linking it with national priorities. Also, I really liked how you brought up concrete examples of how you've seen at the school level these changes in behavioral changes in learners. The importance of cross-country collaboration. I think that this process that you have started alongside with Seychelles is beacon, a north for all of us to follow. It's not only implementing this program within their own countries, but seeing how we can strengthen the processes between each other. So thank you for bringing that up. Now, Mr. Day, if you could also turn on your camera and also the rest of the speakers. We have a few questions for all of you. I would like to start with a question to Mr. Day. So this is in Bangladesh. Are there any specific tools or instruments to record parents' involvement? And how do you link madrasa education with other schools? Do they use the same curriculum? And what challenges have you faced while working with the madrasas?
Actually, we already completed our second phase is piloting project that was that project 8 madrasa was included. So we do have the experience of handling the madrasa teachers. They are very welcoming and they are very cooperative to implement ethics education on concept in their classroom, and they are eager to implement the transformative pedagogy concept. Actually, in our ancient education system was stand on the transformative pedagogy system. When our teachers in our it is one after before coming the British colonial power, our class system was designed by the teachers and the senior and the disciple ethical ethical cooperation. As example, when an advanced learner or a senior learner take the responsibility of the junior or the weak learners to teach them, the teacher handed over their power to lead the classroom. So was our indigenous education system. So it is not new for us. So we just and this practice already sustained in our religious schools, which called madrasa. We just empower the people. This you are on the right track. Carry on to build a student agency to empower the teacher student. And second one, the how we involve our parents in our classroom. Actually, our education system is totally confined in the classroom. There are very few activities out of the classroom. So we are thinking about that, and our government is planning for a new competency-based education policy and the curriculum. We hope we'll get a new curriculum, and that will based on the interaction of society. We already we read the on our pedagogy books the social constructivism. It will be it will be implemented in our classroom. I would think so. So we are hopeful in near future we'll get a new dimension of our education policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Day. And Ms. Kainga, I have another question for you. How can you teach about diversity in context or in schools that have maybe only one religion belief? This is a question specifically from someone who would like to integrate into a private school, but what recommendations or suggestions would you have for them on how to integrate in this maybe more monocultural or religious context to teach about diversity and learning to live together?
Yeah, thank you very much. How can you teach about diversity in a mono religion? I wish to say, Francisco, that diversity is beyond religion. There are many diversities. In my situation, for example, I have diversity in age. Some of my students are 18, 19 years old, and some in the same class could be as much as 40 years old. And so therein lies diversity. And other diversities include gender. I have both male and female in the class. And so the issues of diversity are positively addressed through the pillars of ethics education. Empathy, reflection, thinking about the other person. And so once we articulate the pillars of ethics education, then the issues of addressing diversity and inclusivity fall into place. I just guide the person towards the pillars of ethics education, and therein lies the answer.
Thank you, Ms. Kainga, for highlighting how the pillars from the program themselves promotes this diversity and learning to live together. So thank you for that. Now, as we come to the end of this webinar, I would like to invite all the 5 speakers to share a short reflection, maybe a 1-minute reflection regarding what would, in your experience, what would you recommend to other ministries of education? We have lots of participants from different countries hearing us today. Over 200 people have connected. So what would you recommend to other ministries of education to prioritize and integrate and institutionalize ethics education in their countries?
Should I be the first one to start, Francisco?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so just to share my own personal experience and experiences in Mauritius, that ever since we have ethics education in different, in bits and pieces, these aspects were in our curriculum. But ever since, like, we started on this project fellowship program, and then since we have started really trying to bring it, highlight it, like, you're talking about institutionalization. So since we have started doing that, and through our teacher training, I think we also, it's been much appreciated, and even at the classroom level, when we see the changes that is actually happening. Now, these changes doesn't happen overnight. It's not a kind of a press button that once you have started training teachers in ethics education and things will change overnight. But we have seen, once again, but we have seen the gradual changes notice the changes in the teachers, the changes in the mindset of the teachers, the responses of the students as well. And all this really shows that how integrating ethics education in the curriculum, in the teaching, and using basically transformative pedagogy brings changes that, changes and brings that the respect for diversity, the respect for, and Mauritius being a multicultural society, how these things which we are noticing it. So I think it's a must, and I think for other, like in terms of advocacy or whatever we would say, that integrating ethics education in our teaching is really brings a sound change in the learners and the teachers, and of course, definitely for the country as well. Thank you. That's what I feel, and that's a reflection from the Mauritian team, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gabardon. Would like to go next. Maybe I see you talking, Miss Ignacio, but you are muted. You have your microphone off.
Okay, I would like to encourage colleagues to anchor ethics education in real life, not just theory, but real life. And it speaks directly to the youngsters when you put ethics education in real life. Another point also to integrate across the curriculum, not only one or two subjects, but all the subjects. And it's very important also to develop not just competencies about knowledge, but all the competences. Another thing, Seychelles, we were lucky to be able to pitch ethics education up to the cabinet of ministers. And when you reach that level, so many things will be easier. You need to have this political will so that the ethics education can really pave its way through the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ignacio. And maybe we can end up with the region. So, Ms. Kainga, if you would like to go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. My encouragement is to get out the message of ethics education at the highest possible national level. Every government, without exception, has a national priority around learning to live together. For Kenya, we define it as education for national cohesion. And so bringing this message at that level would be really helpful. The other thing is that ethics education to be embedded into the teacher education curriculum, not as an add-on, because everybody fears adding things on top of what already exists, but as a catalyst to all that is happening around positive living, ethical living, learning to live together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kainga. Dr. Kair, would you like to continue?
Okay. Okay. One statement, my statement, I'm sorry, in the near Moscow. Satu menit ya. Ethics education requires togetherness and shared responsibility. Therefore, learning environment that we continue to work with. Ethics education requires togetherness between teachers, parents, society, and media. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kair. Mr. Day?
No, thank you.
Francisco,
Yes.
I like to add something. Actually, I seek some assistance from my other fellows. Already I heard that CESAS already offered a diploma course on ethics education or transformative pedagogy, and Dr. Shima from Mauritius told that they already they'd already incorporated the ethics education concept to the B.Ed curriculum. So I actually seek some intellectual assistance from our fellow colleagues who develop their resource like booklet or their writing materials, books, booklet, which written in English. Please share with us. It will help to advocate to our national policymaker that this precedence is already took place in other countries. It will good for us. It will be a tools for advocate to our national policymakers. So please share your documents, your intellectual resources to us. It will be helpful for our next actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Yes, and the importance of cross-country collaboration and building from the strengths and experiences and work done of the others also as well. Thank you, everyone. I would like, last but not least, to invite for some closing remarks to Arigatou International Geneva Office Executive Director, Ms. Maria Lucia Uribe.
Thank you so much, Francisco. I will be very brief. I'm very excited to hear from all the panelists and the great work that you have been doing in your countries, the experiences from Seychelles, Bangladesh, Kenya, Indonesia. Have been great. It's very inspiring to hear. And I just want to say that this process has not been easy. I think what we see now and all these results that the fellows and panelists have been explaining and sharing has been a hard work. And that hard work is due to the fact that the fellows have been champions of this initiative in their own ministries of education. So we have, of course, the support from the ministries of education, the national commissions, but I think without the leadership that you have played in your countries in bringing ethics education at different levels, this wouldn't have been possible. So when we think of how we integrate, how we scale up, how we institutionalize ethics education in different countries, and I think many of the participants here are wondering how I can do this in my country. I think it takes a lot. It takes that leadership. It takes this personal commitment. It takes also bringing this into the Ministry of Education and advocating for the importance. It takes also evidence, and we have been also connecting the evidence, connecting the work that you have been doing, collecting the data, collecting what students are saying, what the teachers are saying. And I think putting this into a way that can be presented to the different people at the Ministry of Education and different institutions has been key. I also think that we have created a community of practice with all the countries, and I think this sharing and this support is important and has been instrumental in all the countries feeling that this is not just something that we're doing in our country, this is actually a global priority, and this makes sense, is needed, and is what our education systems need today to transform. And to transform not just the way we teach, but transform also how learning takes place, and also how children become more active and agents of peace and transformation in their communities. So I just want to say thank you for your commitment. Thank you for the excellent work that you have been doing. And thank you to all the participants for being here with us, for your questions. Feel free to reach out to the panelists, but also to Arigatou International and partners. This fellowship has been possible with the collaboration of the UNESCO, and I thank Dr. Fedal for her participation and inspiring remarks. Thank you to KAICIID International Dialogue Center, the Higher Committee Human Fraternity, the Guerrand-Hermès Foundation for Peace, and to all the national commissions, UNESCO offices, and ministries of education. So I leave it here, Francisco, with a big thank and gratitude to everyone who participated today, and I look forward to continuing this dialogue and sharing experiences.